Did Vatican II secretly abandon the social kingship of Christ? Did it replace Catholic truth with religious relativism? Did it open the door to the crisis we see in the Church today? Many traditional Catholics believe it did, and the document they often point to is Dignitatis Humanae, Vatican II's Declaration on Religious Freedom. Some even argue that because the Council was pastoral and did not define new dogmas, this document can simply be rejected. Bishop Athanasius Schneider, for example, has called parts of it ambiguous and believes it contains errors on religious freedom. But theologian Dr. Larry Chapp strongly disagrees. He says the entire debate begins with a misunderstanding of what the document is actually about. According to Chapp, Dignitatis Humanae is not about rejecting Catholic truth. It is not about denying Christ's kingship, and it is not about saying all religions are equal. In fact, the document explicitly states that it leaves untouched the traditional Catholic teaching about the duty of individuals and societies toward the true religion and the one Church of Christ. So what is the document really discussing? The answer is simple: coercion. The very first sentence explains that religious freedom concerns immunity from coercion in civil society. In other words, people should not be forced into faith. This idea is not new. It comes from the Church Fathers themselves. True faith must be freely embraced. It cannot be produced by pressure, threats, or punishment. Chapp argues that even in a Catholic state, this principle remains true. A nation may recognize Catholicism. It may support Catholic institutions. It may even grant privileges to the Church, but it should not use oppressive laws to force religious belief. The Council also acknowledged that governments may still act when public order is threatened. That point remained open for discussion. Therefore, Chapp says Dignitatis Humanae is not teaching religious relativism. Its focus is much narrower. It is about protecting the freedom necessary for authentic faith. This also explains why the Council indirectly questioned some past practices. Chapp points to the Inquisitions. He notes that while modern critics often exaggerate their history, the Church still wanted to make clear that strong-arm tactics are not the way to save souls. Such methods often create resentment. They make the Church appear as an oppressor rather than a bearer of truth. The Enlightenment later used this negative image against the Church. Chapp then cites theologian Tracy Rowland and philosopher Russell Hittinger. Both argue that Dignitatis Humanae should be read in a limited way. It was not creating a new political system. It was not endorsing the American separation of church and state. It was addressing one specific issue: religious coercion. Unfortunately, after Vatican II, many thinkers interpreted the document differently. Some presented it as an embrace of modern liberalism. Others claimed it represented a complete break from the past. Chapp believes both sides misunderstood the text. He recalls reading Vatican II documents for the first time in 1978 after entering seminary. He expected to find evidence of a revolution. Instead, he found documents that were deeply traditional and thoroughly Catholic. He admits that Vatican II was not perfect. Every council has weaknesses. Even Pope Benedict XVI offered criticisms at times. But Chapp says the real issue is not ideology. The real issue is truth. What did the council actually teach? To answer that question, he points to the book Freedom, Truth, and Human Dignity by David Schindler and Nicholas Healy. The book includes the drafts that led to the final text of Dignitatis Humanae. Those drafts show that the Council Fathers wanted to remain firmly within Catholic tradition. Their focus was always on protecting the dignity of conscience and ensuring that faith remains a free act. Finally, Chapp addresses the objections based on 19th century popes. Those popes were reacting to the radical ideas that followed the French Revolution. They feared that religious freedom would inevitably lead to relativism and religious indifference. Dignitatis Humanae agreed with their rejection of false freedom, but it challenged one assumption. It argued that authentic religious freedom does not automatically produce relativism. That, Chapp says, is not a rejection of tradition. It is what Pope Benedict XVI later called a hermeneutic of reform, a small correction in application while remaining faithful to the same Catholic truth.